Hi, everyone. We are High Noon, and we are privileged to have with us today the one and only, the true David Wolfenberger, aka Uncle Dave, aka the founder and visionary behind High Noon International. He and his wife founded High Noon about 5 years ago now, right? Over 5 years.
6 years, yeah.
6 years now. And you together, you have how many children?
7.
You have 7 children. Awesome. I want to get a little bit into High Noon as an organization and just briefly the reason and motivation that you had to start this with your wife.
We'd have to back up a little bit before we started High Noon. Before we began that, I had my own pornography addiction, and I didn't have a prolonged pornography addiction. It was a habit that I developed after smartphones came out. Mm-hmm. And so that was really the backdrop for us beginning High Noon. When I first began to realize that it wasn't just me, but there were a lot of other people struggling with pornography, and the more I asked questions, I found out that basically just almost all second gen deal with pornography in one way or another. Mm-hmm. And most of them have developed habits, bad habits that they would like to quit, but aren't able to.
Mm. Yeah. So over the last 5 years, how would you say, how many people would you say an estimate do you think High Noon has? I know we don't really have the numbers, but would you give us a ballpark? How many people High Noon has impacted or presented to?
Wow. Thousands, literally thousands.
Probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds.
Yeah. Probably tens of thousands, actually. Just on the 24-hour summit, there were over 20,000
last year.
viewers on that. So many presentations we've given all over the world. People who have accessed our website, people who have talked to people who have been to our programs, they're impacted too. And a lot of times we don't even know who's been impacted until, somebody will contact us and they'll let us know, wow, I was at one of your programs, or I saw your podcast, or I talked to somebody who was one of your programs. And that's where my journey to overcoming a porn habit began. And so, I would agree. Yeah. Tens of thousands of people.
That's incredible to actually think about and put a number to. I want to actually invite people who are watching this to check out the Global High Noon Summit that we did in 2020. We have recordings of all the presentations, the professionally done presentations. I'm going to put a link in the description down below where you can check that out when you have time after this video, and also check out the other videos on this channel as well. So I wanted to interview you especially because of the personal work that you're doing with especially young men. So of these thousands and thousands that High Noon as an organization has been able to reach, you personally, how many men do you feel like you have personally worked with over the last several years?
Hundreds, yeah. I've personally worked with hundreds, and I've spoken with many more than that. But and that's probably what I am most proud of. I don't know if pride is the right word, but the personal impact that I've been able to have on people, that's really what it's all about for me. And as an organization, we're all about just impacting people on a personal basis, being authentically just sharing where we're at and where I'm at in a relationship with pornography, where I've been at, right. And then asking other people, especially young people, most of them have never spoken with somebody about pornography, or maybe they did in a brother's night, but then that was the end of it. Mm. Maybe their parents might have caught them watching porn and they said something and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I can really testify that personally in interacting with you. The first time we met, back in 2016 in person at the Set Free Summit. I remember I think our very first conversation, you didn't have the typical approach of a father figure, which is, are you watching porn, young man? When was a lot, you first offered to be vulnerable yourself and express your own struggles and in victories. And I thought that was really just a beautiful sentiment. And that's how, I guess, kind of the reason that I was roped in to work with High Noon in the end is because I was really drawn to that authenticity that you're talking about. So we're talking about your group of men, especially right now. We have a semester, a quarter of over 25, near 30 different groups that are going on simultaneously at the same time, of men, women, older men, younger women, doesn't matter. And specifically for the groups that you're leading and have been leading for years, what would you say is the main things that you've learned in helping young men overcome porn and gain sexual integrity?
Well, Benjy, the main thing I've learned is that young people are good. They're really good people. They've got really good hearts. They have a curiosity. As children, we all have a curiosity around sex. God gave it to us. We're curious about puppy dogs, and we're curious about other pets and animals. We're curious about cartoons and maybe internet games, gaming. We're curious about brothers and sisters. We're curious about sex. Yeah. And it's something that they're born into a church that pretty much the only thing that they've heard about, or what they've heard about most, is the second chapter. Because of sex, all the problems in the world came about. And that's about it. They know that their parents are uncomfortable talking about sex. It's not something that their parents have sat down and talked to them about. Okay. Benjy, I'm not comfortable in talking about sex. It's something they've learned from avoidance. Okay.
Yep. Right.
And they've got this God-given curiosity, a pure curiosity. So young people have a curiosity about sex that is pure. And I think that's really something, the starting point. And when I do try to convey that to young people, and when they get that, they feel understood. Wow, I'm not a bad person. This person gets me. And that's really a starting point in mentoring young men. And it's something that I've learned, that they're just such good people. They've been left to feel quite alone because they've got this curiosity and these sexual urges that nobody talks about, but they're born into a culture and a society where sex is a commodity, and it's shown in a very negative way, a very lustful way.
So when I hear you speak about your guys and your groups, I'm a group leader myself, facilitator for groups, and I've done that for a few years now. And I feel like I'm not having the level of impact that you're having on your guys. And I don't know why I feel that, but because I'm hearing all the time that you're constantly getting testimonies and thank yous. And not that I'm expecting people to thank me all the time, but I feel like there's something you're doing that I think anyone who wants to help someone overcome porn wants to do. What would you say that you do really well when it comes to taking care of these guys in your groups?
Well, I think one thing, Benjy, my guys are a little older than yours. You're taking care of high school kids, and the young people I take care of are more GPA, CARP, age group, or college age group kids, young people, young men. They're closer to the blessing, highly motivated. I don't know. I do. I do try to, I don't know what it is. I can't really say.
Sure.
I
Right.
don't know, but I do know that, like, Dr. Young says, he's been teaching us that we need to make an unforgettable impression on people,
Mm.
and we need for people we witness to or we work with to never forget us. And I can tell you for sure that when you can have a voice in a young person's life and help them to understand that the thing that they've been most saddled with, they've been most burdened with, and they've felt the most shame around for maybe 10 years, the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're able to bring that out of the shadows, help them to bring it out of the shadows, and to see it in a light that, you know, this is really God's gift to you, and you're not a bad person. You're not, sex is not something to be ashamed about. And I'd like to help you to take one step, and then, okay, let's take another step. And I think being an uncle figure maybe has even some advantages of being over being a parent, because uncles they don't have expectations like parents do, you know. And I think I'm probably a better uncle than I was a dad.
Don't say that. Oh, wow. So I want to get into the real secret sauce here for your guys. And I want to really know, and I know the viewers of this want to know, especially people who are struggling right now, you know, not for parents or people who want to help, but people who are really struggling listening to this. What is it that's really helpful to them? What is it that gets them from really high on the addiction scale to, oh my gosh, this is life changing, Uncle Dave. Thank you so much for what you've done for my life.
Hands down, accountability. Accountability is definitely, that was the first step that I took in overcoming my porn habit. When I first realized, Mitzi and I first realized what just a ubiquitous problem this is, and what would happen if we didn't do anything about it. We were just really blown away that we have to do something. So, like, there at the very beginning, I started to look around for sources of help, and I found Covenant Eyes, and John Williams was a person we just assigned as director of High Noon. Which wasn't even called High Noon back then. And I said, John, I found this internet software, and it's for helping people to be accountable by sending a report of their websites to an accountability partner. And he said, wow, that's great. I said, John, I'd like to be the first guinea pig. So that's how that began.
Yeah. Got it.
I think the most important thing is really to be authentic in this, because, man, True Father said, and True Mother has said too, that, like, peace starts with me. And Father said that that if you want to, first you have to, like, build a kingdom of heaven inside of you, become a true man before we can create a true world. I think with sexual integrity, there's no way around it. You cannot start talking to young people about sexual integrity if you ain't got any. And it doesn't mean you got to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to be, it doesn't even mean that you have to have overcome your problem. You've got to be working on it at least. And you got to be authentic about where you're at.
Yeah, I think that's really key, is that the secrecy and lack of integrity itself is what is destructive. It's not the fact that we're not perfect and we make mistakes. And I think that's really what High Noon is championing all the time, is we're admitting our mistakes, and we're admitting, like you do constantly, that we're growing, and it's a process of growth, and it's a process of helping other people do the same and go through the same things that we have been through as well. One thing you mentioned about accountability being the hands down the most important thing for people. I know that there are different levels of accountability, right? You mentioned software. I know there's accountability partners like one-on-one, and then there's groups. How would you kind of rank or recommend for people to get started? For people who want accountability, where should they start?
Well, High Noon is a great place to start if you're able to. Having an accountability partner is really, I think that's really, really an important place to start. So pick one person that you can trust and share your problem with them. Share the habits that you would like to overcome and what kind of man you'd like to become. And ask them, can you please help hold me accountable to that vision I have of myself? So yeah, I think starting out with one person that you can trust is a great place to start.
Got it. Yeah, I just want to second in my own experience that you made me think about when I reached out to somebody for accountability. It was someone that was, I never thought I would ever reach out for accountability, because for me it was always like like not a big issue, it was an on and off habit. And then I realized, and I admitted to myself, that as long as this is part of my life, I cannot fully love my spouse or my family or people in my life. I'll always have this cloud over my head, and I'll never be able to really like look at people in the eyes and be free. And I didn't want that my whole life. So I reached out to somebody that I just, like you said, I trust, I respect. And for me personally, most importantly, he's someone that I know I wouldn't feel judgment, or I wouldn't feel like I feel like he would accept me and unconditionally love me for my mistakes. He's kind of a friend, like a close age range, but I feel like he's a mentor in that he's ahead of the game in terms of his own journey. And I felt like he could help guide me. And for me, that was really the turning point, is as soon as I just recognized and I stopped beating around the bush and playing with fire and dabbling in my integrity and just try to get on top of it. That's really what helped. Just sharing with somebody in itself can be extremely helpful. And that's what it seems to be very powerful in groups, especially, right? My own experience is that when people join a group, they the fact that they're creating a brotherhood or sisterhood or a band of brothers or sisters, men or women, that they can share honestly, openly over a period of a few months, 3 months. It's like they build that relationship and trust and accountability and respect and everything that you get inside the High Noon package. So yeah, like Uncle Dave said, you can join High Noon. You can go to highnoon.org. We'll even put a little link in the description down below where you can join up for a group, and we'll get you connected, and so that you can see the right steps for you or for someone you love, whoever it may be, right? Okay, so Uncle David, I think anyone listening to this, especially young men who hear you, are probably thinking like, oh man, I wish I had Uncle David as my accountability partner or as my group leader. And I know that you can't take on everyone at the same time, although I know that's probably where your heart, and that's probably why you started High Noon in the first place, so you didn't have to do it alone, right? But if somebody came to you today and told you that, Uncle Dave, I've never told this to anyone in my life. I'm so ashamed. I don't feel qualified at all to be alive, to be married at the least. And I'm struggling with the porn habit. What would you say to someone like that?
Well, I think the most important thing is to see them as God would see them. And that's something that when you reach out to somebody as an accountability partner or as a mentor, that you want somebody that will see you the way God sees you, because you see yourself in shame. And you got this shame that's been over your head for such a long time. And to be able to share that, your innermost, your darkest secrets with somebody and have them see you the way that God sees you is just so liberating. It's so incredible. And that's what I try to give. I try to leave people with that feeling that I'm a good person. I just shared this part of my life with somebody, and I didn't self-destruct like I thought I might. and I feel loved.
Mm.
So that's really what I try to do. I try to help people to feel God's love,
Mm.
because I really feel I sincerely feel that is what people need. That's something that they absolutely need in this fight, because they've been plagued for so long uh, by these voices in the back of their head that have been telling them that they're no good. You must be evil if you're doing this.
Mm.
Um, what would mom and dad say? That kind of thing. And to be able to be honest and share with somebody openly, to take off the mask and to be loved for who you are. That is the most important thing.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds like the secret sauce right there. And that's something we definitely apply at High Noon in every way we can. It's part of our core principles as just unconditional love, true love. And I think the last question I wanted to get into is regarding people who want to have that kind of heart. Is the other side is parents, spouses, people who don't struggle necessarily, but they have a child or spouse that is struggling and they don't know how to get them out of the hole. What would you encourage those concerned individuals to do to support someone?
Okay, well, if you are struggling with pornography yourself as a parent or as a concerned person, then you need to deal with your own issues first. Begin dealing with your own issues first. So yeah, for parents who are concerned about their child, one thing I know that that young people are they're not bad. They are put in an environment where pornography is almost unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
It's right in front of them. They have natural curiosity, and often they've been drawn back to it again, sometimes again and again, developing a habit. I think for parents to realize, and for concerned individuals to realize that that this is something that's plaguing really good kids,
Mm-hmm.
And to convey when you're asking your son or daughter or your a young person how they're doing with pornography, to really convey that you get their circumstance, that they were born with this God-given gift, and it's been subverted by by really influences that they had no control over. They didn't ask to have access to internet, where internet pornography was just a click away. They've just been exercising their natural God-given curiosity. So yeah, realizing this, and so when you're talking to your child or your friend, there's no shame, there's no accusation, just only the heart of wanting to help, only the heart of wanting to share God's unconditional love with them.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I think it's very refreshing for people to hear that we're not alone in this battle against for our sexual integrity. And thank you so much for everything you're doing with High Noon and in your life and with your groups. We hope that this has been helpful for everyone. You can feel free to share it with people that you love and care for, and feel free to watch other videos here on the channel and get started. I mean, just go ahead and join a group. The groups are for everyone. The groups are for men, women, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, older, younger. We have groups for you. And regardless of where you are in your journey, there are people that are going through things very similar to you. And we have an army of people just like Uncle Dave who are doing groups and leading these groups in this way with unconditional love. All right. You want to sign us off, Uncle Dave?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Community is really where addictions and bad habits stop. And we have the best community of all.
Mhm.
We have a community of true parents, and we understand God's view of sex, God's purpose for sex.
Mm.
So we are really best qualified of any community to help our young people
Mm.
and to help others.
Good
So
point.
I'd really like to put that challenge out there for you. And if you're struggling with a problem, your community is here to help you. High Noon community is here to help you. So reach out, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.